Good morning. So now we are actually going to do a tutorial on how to put together the lantern ornaments. This is a brand new lantern ornament. I haven't released it yet. I will, excuse me, later today, but we'll use it as our how-to. Sorry for the shakiness. So to get started, what do we need to do this? You're going to need an ornament hanger. I buy these pre-made already because I don't have time to sit and cut and tie knots. So I buy them pre-made on Amazon. I use Starbond Thick. It gives you about 30 seconds working time. It's not messy. You don't need a lot of it. And it is not expensive. And you'll also need your flex that you're going to use for your panels. And then you're going to need Eco Wood. These files are designed to fit with Eco Wood, so no adjustments to kerf is necessary. And when I say Eco Wood, it can be Eco Maple, Eco Birch, Eco Cherry, Walnut, or even Eco Red, Eco Blue, Eco Yellow, whichever colors you choose. But provided you're sticking with Eco Wood from Smoky Hill, these will fit. Otherwise, you will need to make adjustments to the slots. All right, so let's get started. So when you get your file, you're going to have green cut lines, orange score lines, and blue for engrave. This particular pattern has all three. So lay out your Eco Wood, do your cutting, your scoring, your engraving, all that stuff, and then leave it in your bed. What I like to do is I like to clean the top layer while it's still in my bed, because the bed allows me to exert a little bit of pressure if need be. I spray a little bit of rainbow glass cleaner on top, and then I go ahead and wipe it down. Now, when you take your pieces out of your bed and you go to clean them, take it out, clean it, and then flip it back over. It is important that you keep your pieces facing upwards. There is one caveat to that, which we'll go over in just a second. But go ahead and get those nice and clean, because if you don't, when you put your lanterns together, you might see some of that dirtiness along the sides there. So it's best to go ahead and clean it. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is our bottom layer, and you might say, that's kind of weird. We'll talk about that in just a second. But this is your bottom layer. It has a score line, and so what you're going to do, making sure that this is facing upwards, is you're going to align it to that base layer, and you're going to go ahead and put a couple little glue dots around the edges. Okay, you don't need a lot, just a couple little glue dots around the edges. Don't put it in the middle, because there's nothing for that crossbar to adhere to. You're going to go ahead and do that, and you'll go ahead and align this to your score lines. You've got about 30 seconds working time here. Go ahead and get it in your score lines and press it down and allow it to set. Okay, it sets super quickly. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and put your flex panels onto the back of your lantern panels. Okay, keeping in mind that the shiny side of the flex needs to be facing outwards. Okay, so flip over your lantern panel that I didn't clean, flip over your flex, go ahead and add a couple little glue dots around the edges, and or you can see where you need to add glue, and go ahead and get those all glued on. Okay, once you've got those glued on, then you can go ahead and start placing your lantern panels into the slots. I would just go ahead and make sure you sorry, I just pinched my finger. Just test your fit, but they should fit perfectly. Okay. But you can then also put a little dab of glue into the slot before you put your panel in, and then go ahead and push it down. Be gentle with your panels. This is a small ornament, so we don't have a lot of thickness when it comes to some of our lines. Okay, but go ahead and start putting those in. Now, one thing to note about this particular lantern is I've designed it so that the lights can fit into the back of the ornament, meaning the lights from the Christmas tree can sort of be stuffed into the back of this ornament. You don't need to add you don't need to add a fairy light or even a tea light. You can, but you don't need to. So that is the reason why there is a blank panel in the file. Okay, oops, sorry, I put this on the wrong side. There is a blank panel in the file. We'll talk about that again in just a second, but let's just finish doing this so I'm like over here talking and not paying attention. So, okay, now, blank panel, okay, the idea here is that you put it here and it allows you to put in Christmas lights from the tree. The other option that we'll talk about in just a second is you can put a tea light in the back. If you choose not to use the blank panel and you choose to use a pattern panel, okay, you can do that. But note that a tea light is not going to fit in there. Okay, sorry, I don't know why there we go. Okay, a tea light is not going to fit in there. You could fit in some string lights if you wanted, and you could even put some fairy lights in from the bottom. But the idea is to use the blank panel to allow you to stuff those Christmas tree lights inside there, okay? All right, so once you've got all your panels in, okay, then we're ready for the top layer, but don't do it quite yet, because what you want to do is before you insert this, because you will go crazy if you don't, is take your ornament hanger and go ahead and push it through the little hole that's there, okay, and use a pick or something like that. Go ahead and push it through, and then do it for the top of the lantern as well, because if you don't do that, you will go nuts trying to insert it after you've put this panel on top of your, oops, sorry, there. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Now, don't glue it down quite yet, but at least get that in there, okay? So it looks sort of like this graduation cap like this. All right, then what you want to do is keeping your finger or something else, then we're going to go ahead and put your lantern panels, insert panel onto the top of your lantern. Okay, so we'll start with, like every other single one, is we'll start with one of the panels, get the slot in, and then we'll start going around the edges and getting the rest of it in, taking care not to let that top piece slip off. Okay, hence the reason why I kind of sort of keep my pick there. Once you've got all of those in there, then you can put your dots of glue on the top here, and take your topper and pull it down and go ahead and align it so that it's there, and then your lantern is put together. Okay, of course it would have flex panels inside of it, but that's the idea. Again, Christmas tree lights can go in here. A tea light can even sit in here if you wanted. You could sell it that way. That's a nice little upsell, and you can get these in bulk on Amazon pretty cheaply, and you can even get them that have timers, so that's nice as well. So the other thing I wanted to mention excuse me, was the reason why the bottom is open. I did this intentionally to allow light to shine through when this is hanging on the trees. So not only do you have the light coming in from the back where the tree lights are, but you have lights coming in from the bottom. So it'll give it that nice little glow on the tree. So let's see what this one might look like with a lantern panel inside. Again, this is why you put your lantern panels in before you put all of this together, so that you don't do what I'm doing here and make a hot mess of it. So at any rate, let's pick a different one. yeah, I picked one of the smaller ones. There we go. So the idea is you get these in here beforehand so you're not fighting with it like I am right this second. You've got your tea light. Mine doesn't work, of course. You've got your tea light, and then there you go. You've got yourself a lantern ornament. Okay? So happy making, and I will see you next time.